happening.
It's happening. It's official. The official announcement coming through Instagram and pretty much every other Saw social media channel. The 27th of September 2024, exactly 1 year after the release of sawx. When we heard this only a couple of short hours ago, it kind of blew our minds a little bit.
I was speechless.
Yes.
I was rendered speechless. I was in a shopping centre with pretty poor reception, and I get a text from Adam come through, and it goes, what did you say? You were like,
I said,
have you
dude.
seen the news?
I said, have you seen? It's happening. It's officially happening.
It's officially happening. And I'm sitting there scratching my head like, it's not Saw, surely not. And sure enough, I checked the Instagram.
It was Saw.
And it was Saw.
It was Saw. And right now, we're going to talk about everything that we know about Saw 11, what we speculate about Saw 11, and just really sort of fill you up, because I know a lot of you guys, with this announcement, want to hear about it, what's it all about, and Saw's actual official channels have not published heaps.
No.
But there have been a few rumours, a few leaks.
There's been definitely a few rumours in terms of what Saw announced today, Saw channels. It's really nothing apart from the date itself and the fact that Saw 11 will be going ahead. But according to the rumours that we've spoken about sort of over the past couple of weeks, it does seem like they have potentially 2 films in the works, so Saw 11 and Saw 12. And based on what we've heard so far, it seems that Saw 11 will be another prequel.
That's right. So what we're expecting from the current announced film, Saw 11, officially announced, so we can say that now, is of course going to be a direct sequel to Saw 10.
Saw 10,
as we've heard. Our exact location in the timeline, we know it's going to be a midquel, let's say, but we're expecting it to be landing around that Saw 2, 3, sort of Saw 3, 4 area, somewhere
I think
in
it's
there.
definitely going to depend on who they want to propose as a returning character. I think that if they set it between Saw 2 and 3, they have a few options for returning characters, but potentially setting it after the events of 3 and 4, they have a big list of people they could bring back.
A lot of returning characters. So in terms of the leaks or rumors that are going around at the moment, we're expecting this exact Saw 11 to be the film that bridges the gap between this sort of Saw X location in the timeline and, of course, to the very end of present day, or let's say the sequel to Saw 3D. So the rumors are that this is, of course, a Mark Hoffman film. We're going to be able to explore the humanity of Mark Hoffman, just as we did with John Kramer in Saw X, which begs a lot of questions, of course, with this film. So we do want to talk about sort of, do we think that John Kramer's returning? That's a big part of this.
Well, if you had have asked me before this announcement was prominent and before it happened, I would have said no. I would have thought that John Kramer and Tobin Bell would no longer be part of the Saw franchise. I don't even think that they would put him in flashbacks. Like, I think it would have been it for his character. I think that Saw X sent him off really well. However, considering how quick they have put this one together and announced that there will be one, it's very possible.
Exactly. So Kevin Grudett, the director of Saw X, specifically said that Saw X or Saw 10 was a farewell to John Kramer. It was the big goodbye. And so we believe that, from what he's saying, that's probably the case, and that Saw 11 will probably move on without him. But now they go ahead and announce a movie that's coming out in less than a year's time and seems to be a direct sequel to Saw X from what sources are saying. I reckon he's coming back.
I reckon he's coming back too.
He's coming back. He's in that time frame. They're shooting this film within the next few months. So he's very available.
You'd think that they'd be shooting any minute now, to be honest with you.
Ready for it.
Because, like a lot goes into the production of a film. You know, the fact that, like, who's written this script, first of all? Because you're going to tell me that the script hasn't been written yet, the shooting hasn't started, nothing has been edited. How are they getting that out in 9 months? So they must already have a script. They must have a script. They must have a full script, or at least a guideline of what they want to do with the film. And you can't imagine that they're going to leave shooting till very long. Like, 9 months is not a big amount of time to have a film done.
Well, that's right. In the history of Saw, which when they used to do the yearly releases, of course, they would shoot probably around a January, February sort of timeline, because it takes a long time, obviously, to put this movie together. So we believe that the Saw 11 script is in existence. It is there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's got to be around.
Have to be existing. And with this current time frame, that Tobin Bell will make a comeback. It would make sense, obviously, being a direct sequel to Saw X, that we would have John Kramer come back to help maybe still be a Mark Hoffman-centric film, but he would obviously still be there guiding Mark as part of
The
this.
devil on his shoulder, yeah.
And of course, we expect Amanda to come back as well.
Of course, yeah. And I think that this is something that you and I have both been saying for a while, like since we started talking about Saw, that we would really like to see more interaction between Amanda and Hoffman. And I think that this film will give us that, for
This
sure.
is the film that is going to be really exciting. Whether you're a Hoffman fan, whether you're an Amanda fan, whether you're a John Kramer fan, we're going to have the proper trio. And we don't really have any Saw movie that kind of really gives us a lot of them working all together, really. You sort of have John, and then you have John and Amanda, and then you sort of have a lot of John and Hoffman. But you don't really have the three of them really interacting that
No,
heaps.
it's the three of them of what interacted a whole of one time,
Yeah,
like in
very
the whole
brief.
franchise. Like it was very, very brief, and even that itself was in a flashback.
Yeah.
So to have scenes with them interacting and maybe show Amanda and Hoffman's bickering and back and forth between each other, I think is going to be really exciting. I think it'll also be really exciting to maybe see, if Amanda is in the film, Hoffman planning out the downfall of Amanda and actually showing him put together his plan to get rid of her.
That's right. This is actually a really exciting film because there's so many things that we can go over that Saw never really got the chance to.
Yeah.
So to be able to explore not just the humanity of Mark Hoffman, because we have seen a history of Mark in which he obviously started out as somebody who would cry at the kidnapping of a Jigsaw victim. He felt remorse. He turned away when he saw blood. His humanity sort of disappeared over time, and we can explore that, which is
But
a lot
we're
of fun.
back now where he started.
He's going through that. And then also we get to explore the relationship between himself and Amanda, which is such a great sort of explosive relationship between the two because they have to work together, but they kind of hate each other. Maybe they kind of love each other. We don't know. Like there's a couple of things going on there. How do
Brother
you
and
feel?
sisterly love.
Brother and sister, sibling rivalry, let's
sibling
say.
rivalry,
Fighting for daddy's attention between the two of them. And that's just a really fun storyline, which we never really got to explore between the two. So the dynamics of the trio is so exciting. And whether or not we have Mark's sister talked about much in this film either, whether they show her in flashbacks or
if
just...
this film is purely like what last film was for John, what last film did for John Kramer and John and Amanda's relationship, I think that Hoffman's sister Angelina will come up a lot in this film.
I'm hoping so.
Because that's sort of the reason that he is the way he is. He did that purely get out of vengeance for Angelina's death and what happened to her. So she plays a big part in the person that he became. And I think that showing a more emotional side of Hoffman, you sort of have to have that story unfold a little bit more than it did.
Well, yeah, she was the absolute trigger for the whole thing. She was the reason why he went down that path. And he has a great emotional scene with John talking about her. You know, you didn't see the blood, you didn't see what he did to her, and how emotionally charged he is by the death of his sister. And so to explore that, we've got such a great story there. You know, you've got such a great story for Hoffman to explore his mental state through that, and also then dealing with Amanda and John. There's so much fun they can have with this storyline. It's the perfect place in the timeline. It's so exciting to think about, and it's so exciting to sort of look forward.
Can't wait. And to think that there is the possibility as well for returning characters such as Lindsay, such as Storm, such as Kerry Rigg. Like, there is so many of these detectives that we know and love. Are we going to get Jill return? Will we see more of John Kramer and Jill's relationship? Because obviously that was not a part of Sawx.
That's right. So no Jill in Saw X. Very possible to have her come back in this one.
Very possible, yeah.
We do have so many options here, and we know a lot of the actors are up to come back.
Yes,
But
as Kevin did announce and the producers did announce, they were contacted by many actors and characters who had been a part of the Saw franchise as soon as they found out that it was a prequel. And there are a lot of people who are interested in returning.
Exactly, but the only issue with that is that I'm concerned is that now we have such a short timeline. How many of these actors did they have the chance to really reach out and place into this script?
I can imagine that it's already started happening. Like, before we even knew that Saw 11 was officially a thing, I have a feeling that it's already
They were trying to get them on
it's
board.
already happened during the background. Like if what's the producers said, which was true about them being contacted by actors previously wanting to be in the new Saw film, I have a feeling they would have said, look, like we don't have time or energy or anything like that to put you in this one, but Saw 11 will keep you in mind for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's they probably would have had a lot of these people reach out and put them on the back burner. It's tough to place them in the script. I know for us, I think Strawn would be right up there.
Strawn would be a dream.
Strawn would be up there.
It's a little bit hard depending on where they go
Yeah.
in the timeline. If they go between Saw 2 and 3, the only way they could sort of bring him back is by showing Allison working with Strawn and Lindsay Perez in the background, because we never really saw it unfold on screen. We only ever heard about them working together.
That's right.
So I guess they could technically, but I think that it would make more sense if they did have it set after Saw 4, which would then mean John Kramer and Amanda would not be a part of it, only in flashbacks.
Yes, it's obviously a big ask for Strawn. It's
Yeah.
just somebody that we kind of want to see more of.
Yeah.
But we know he's probably not likely for what you said, timeline reasons, but also I think the actor's probably
We can
also,
dream. We can dream.
Slightly away from it. I think that the more likely scenario, look, even Detective Matthews would have been a nice one to see come back in some way.
Yeah.
Even if it was a very small role, would be really fun.
It'd be interesting to see if he does come back, considering he wanted out of the franchise so
Well,
badly
that's
in the
right,
first
you know.
place.
There's a lot of actors that and a lot of characters that could come back. And we're hoping that at least maybe one or two of the smaller characters could come back, even if it is a small role, even if it is just a small role. And of course, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Dr. Gordon.
Dr. Gordon,
of
Carrie
course.
Elways. I think, and we spoke about this briefly when we found out that it was announced, I think it's possible that he'll come back. I think that if it is for Saw 11, I think that it will be the way Hoffman came back in Saw 10. So it'll be via phone call, it'll be via text message or
Post-credit scene.
Post-credit scene, something along those lines. It's not going to be anything too intense. I think there'll be a few people in cinemas that'll be like, oh, that's Gordon, just like I was when Hoffman was in Saw X. But I don't think it's going to be this massive prominent role.
No, I think the producers love a little bit of fan service. I think that they love a good twist, but they also love to excite fans and bring back those characters and have those big reveal moments. I think that they're really big fans of that. And if they could put Gordon into just like even a post-credit scene, yeah, they would go for that big time. And Saw being so big now after Saw 10's huge success, this is the time now to bring him back. And also, if they can get him for a post-credit scene, then we have a more likelihood of getting him for Saw 12, which is what everybody really wants.
Just thinking that. Saw 12, I think that if Carrie Elways is to make his return to the franchise, his debut film will be Saw 12. I think that's when he'll have a more prominent role. I definitely think there could be references to him in Saw 11, just like with Hoffman in Saw 10. But I don't know if he's actually physically going to be on the screen.
It'd be interesting if they at least referenced him as somebody who was helping with some of the traps in certain ways.
Yeah.
Just because of obviously where we are in the timeline, he would be around and possibly helping with some things, so they could kind of make out that he was around and we're not necessarily showing him.
Logan as well, another one that we'd
happily have him back.
Yeah. I think that it's possible for him to even return somehow, whether it just, again, being just discussed about or maybe John and Hoffman have like a little D&M, deep and meaningful conversation, and John tells Hoffman about Logan and how he was the first disciple and how he's away now, and maybe that could be like just some type of
It'd be cool to touch on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe like a picture of him or a mention of him or something like that just in the background. That would be really, really cool as well.
Yeah.
So many options here for bringing him. Obviously, we would be happy enough just with the main trio coming back, but anybody else that they can bring back is really
And
gonna
I
be
think this
exciting.
is what we sort of speculated as well back when Saw 10 was announced.
Yep.
We were like, oh, this person can come back and this person can come back. And of course, Saw 10 did bring references to people and did bring certain characters back. But I have a feeling that Saw 11 is going to be big in terms of the character reference, in terms of having people just show up out of nowhere and shocking the cinema. Like, I think it's going to be a big fan service film.
I'm hoping so. And of course, talking about returning characters, we would be amiss without mentioning the one who I'm putting money on is definitely coming back. And that's your old favourite, Cecilia Peterson.
Cecilia Peterson.
Yeah.
Well, it's already been confirmed, really, in the director's commentary that she's
around. She's around. What they do with the character and how it plays out.
Kill her brutally. She's not going to make it to... If Saw 12 is the sequel of Saw 3D, she's not making it that
She's not
far.
making it to Saw 12, no.
She's not making it to Saw 12. So they'll have to wrap up her character in Saw 11. And the only way I can see that happening is by her dying brutally.
Yeah. But
like she should have died in Saw 10.
Do you see her being the main villain in this one?
Potentially.
I do.
I still see... I'm sorry, but I still see... Amanda going back to kill her. I still see it happening. I still see that Cecilia is the reason or the beginning of it all for Amanda, the beginning of her rigging traps, the beginning of seeing people that don't change. Maybe Amanda goes back for Cecilia or goes back and spies on her and sees Cecilia committing a crime again or doing something again or trying to get to Carlos or something along those lines. And Amanda sees it. Amanda says, that's it. People don't change. They're not reborn. And that's when the downward spiral starts from there. That's what I see happening with Cecilia.
Interestingly enough, I recall Cecilia saying to John in Saw 10, you could have just walked away. This is when he's trapped up and she thinks she's had him. And she mentions to him, you could have just walked away, just understood you've been beat and leave it at that. And I think that this movie is going to have her kind of in the same scenario. She could have just walked away, but she's come back for him. And I believe she'll be the main villain in this film. And whether or not she is put in a trap at the end, which is unbeatable, possibly, and that's connects to that storyline, maybe an Amanda or Hoffman situation, that would make a lot of sense as well. But I can see her being a really great, really smart villain that makes it to the end and gives Saw 11 a nice big finish as well, which is really, really cool. I'm excited to see it back,
the finish of Saw 11 is just Hoffman getting out of the bathroom.
Well, I mean, if that happens, it'll be a post-credits probably, I think, maybe.
You reckon?
Or some sort of flash forward. It won't be part of the main storyline because it is obviously so disconnected to whatever Saw 11 story is going to be. I think that they'll need to probably touch on the bathroom situation.
It'd be funny if Saw 11, they do Saw 11, and then like the end of it is like Hoffman imagining the scenario while he's still tied up in the bathroom. Like he's like getting all, he hasn't eaten in days, he's thirsty, he's like hallucinating this moment that we'd never seen before. And then it's just him in the bathroom and then someone comes and saves him. I don't know, that sounds dumb, but it could work.
I think a better one would be Hoffman builds a time machine and he goes forward and saves himself from the bathroom.
Saves himself from the bathroom.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And outside of characters, of course, talking about people returning, this is a bit of a speculation. I guess maybe a hope for us is that maybe Kevin might actually come back to direct Saw 11, possibly.
I think that it's definitely possible.
It's possible.
The main reason why I think it's possible is because they have announced this so quick, Saw 11 being a possibility so quick. I can only imagine that they keep someone who knows the franchise well, and of course that is Kevin. Kevin's done 3 of the last Saw films, or
I mean, he's directed
the
the highestly, critically received one out of the bunch.
Exactly.
And he's the closest to it right now.
I can imagine that they would want to bring him back. If not Kevin, it'll be another director that knows the franchise. It would be a very ballsy move to bring on someone who'd never been a part of any Saw film before.
I agree. I feel like that they would either have Kevin back or they would bring one of the directors of one of the previous Saw movies back, possibly.
Yep.
He might be a little bit of a stretch, maybe. But I think with Kevin, because he did so well with Saw X, he would have to be their top pick. And it would make sense to let him direct the whole trilogy, because it's kind of going to be a really kind of like a Saw 11, 12 trilogy combined, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
But he's definitely shown, and I know not everybody loves Saw X because we know there's some commenters out there that don't like it, but it is the greatest received film critically, and obviously brought Saw back into the limelight. And I think for the producers, it's the safest move.
Yeah.
I think that he's always tried to pretend like Saw X was the end for everything because maybe he just wants to, some bargaining power going forward. But yeah, I think if we had a top pick, I think we would pick Kevin to direct this one for sure. We take back anything bad we ever said about Kevin.
We love Kevin.
We love Kevin.
We really love Kevin. And not only that, but he's just such an all-round lovely guy. Like, I really enjoy watching him. I love him and his wife, like, talking and doing their little TikTok videos. Like, I think that they're so in love and obsessed and involved with the Saw franchise. I can't imagine anyone else taking over. I'm happy where the Saw franchise is at, and I'm happy with where it's rumored to be headed. Of course, Josh Stolberg, unfortunately, has left the franchise as well. Won't be writing Saw 11 along those lines.
That's right. So, again, talking about people returning, Josh Stolberg, who is one of the co-writers out of two, a duo of writers that wrote the last three Saw films, including Saw X, has been told he's not going to be part of the latest film, which means a few things, possibly. He actually did post a very interesting tweet today due to the confirmation of Saw 11 as well, if you would like to read that tweet.
Mm-hmm. Got a slew of DMs today about the Lionsgate Saw announcement. Pete and I are sitting this chapter out. Very excited to see this one as fans of the franchise. I think people will be pleased with the team.
Yes.
So this comes only days after he announced that he'd be stepping back from the Saw franchise.
That's right. So you may have seen our previous video possibly as well, where we mentioned that the writer of Saw X, or co-writer of Saw X, did announce that he was leaving the franchise, basically. And he mentions in this tweet that his co-writer partner also will be leaving as well. So it's interesting. He mentions that we'll be very happy with the replacement writers, which leads us to believe, and a lot of fans that comment as well, that very possibly they've brought back
Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan,
yes,
who did Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6, and Saw 7.
And why do we specifically choose those guys?
I think specifically that if the film is a Hoffman-centric film, they're gonna bring back the creators of the Hoffman character.
That's right.
These guys wrote Hoffman. They know Hoffman in and out. We won't talk about the moment where they painted Hoffman as the killer who killed the innocent cop guy when he was a cop younger. I don't like that part. That part can be removed. Yeah. But other than that, they know him in and out. They
wrote all of the movies that basically starred Hoffman, and so these are the guys that obviously did their best with Hoffman. They know him the best, and going back and using a team, of course, of OG Saw writers, very safe choice.
Yeah.
And giving them a chance to have another go at this. Look, we could be way off with this. I don't know if there's an official announcement on who's actually written this film, which is interesting, especially with a date. We have no idea.
We could be way off with it. But again, much like Kevin being the potential director of Saw 11, I just can't imagine them bringing new blood to the franchise. I feel like Saw is something that is very messy. The writing is very messy. Yeah. There's a lot going on. And I just don't think that they would trust anyone who isn't or hasn't been a part of the franchise before to come in and write it.
It's because, like you said, the franchise is so convoluted now. Mm-hmm. The story is, it's obviously we're 10 films in.
There's so many ways that they can go with it. There's so many things that they can answer that they haven't before. And I don't trust a new writer to go in and give us the fan service that someone who is a part of the franchise could do.
That's right.
So I think that whoever it's going to be someone who's been a part of the franchise before, and being a Hoffman-centric film, I can only imagine that it would be the two writers who created him.
Yeah, and it's not to say that Saw is not without plot holes and issues, but overall, it's probably one of the cleanest timelines, especially for 10 movies straight. They've kept pretty to their guns. They don't go back on deaths, really. And they keep things pretty, it's a bit much when I say this, sensical, I suppose, to a degree, because it's a pretty crazy franchise. But it's a pretty great story, and there are a lot of moving pieces to it. So bringing back writers who have obviously worked on the franchise, who know the franchise in and out, it's the safest move. It's the guys that know Hoffman, and this is a film that's getting pumped out, so we can't waste any time. We need to, have some guys who know what they're doing. And, if we're right about this, if Kevin's coming back and we've got the two guys who wrote Hoffman's original films coming back to write it, I think we were in for a pretty winning film. Yeah. That being said, of course, you would watch a movie about Hoffman sitting in a corner doing nothing. So either way, we're on to a winner. But I think this is shaping up to be a pretty phenomenal film.
I think so too. I think that critically, I don't know if it's going to do as well as Saw X did, purely because it seems like if that's the way they go by bringing back Patrick and Kevin and everything, we know that there wasn't the best 6 and 7, which they worked on together, wasn't the best critically acclaimed. So I can imagine that we're going to have some harsher critics when it comes to that side of things. But personally, the best moments are in 5, 6, and 7. Like they're home to such amazing moments throughout the film. Definitely have the best rewatchability out of the franchise. So I'm really excited to have them all working together again, if that's the way it goes.
I think say what you want, because I know not everybody loves 5, 6, 7, whatever. Everyone has got their own. No one agrees on the ranking of the Saw 10 movies. I'm just going to say that, the 10 Saw movies. But that being said, from what we saw from Saw X and where Kevin is in his career now, and I think where everyone is, because Tobin, he's at his best. Tobin has never been better. His performance was the best he's ever had. You know, so we've got a cast now who are literally giving us the best of their career. Directors, where they're at their best. You know, everybody in this team has really come a long way. They're always good, but what they're producing here, it's a labor of love because they love it so much. Like Tobin is in love with John Kramer. Yeah. It's his life's work. He's in love with Saw. He takes it so seriously. And I think Kevin's the same. And that's where we really get a really great film, is when these guys love what they're doing and give it all. And I don't think Saw 11 is going to be any different to Saw 10. I think we're going to get something that is an absolute labor of love, and it's going to be absolute fan service. We know that the producers who have been doing this for so long now are doing it out of best interests. You know, they're doing it for us.
Yeah. And
I think no matter what they do, it's going to be phenomenal. And it's going to be here really soon.
Yeah, well, the countdown is on.
The countdown is on.
What is it? It's 9 months, 14 days, and I believe it'll be about 9 hours at this
Depending
point.
on what day you watch this video, specifically.
Right now, as of right now.
You might be watching this video either right now in 2023, or you might even be watching this video in 2024 with the movie about to release.
In which case, you'll be even closer.
If you're really, really excited, you might just sit back and watch our whole back catalogue. But we're glad that Saw is back. It is back in the limelight. We are now with an official date. We are going to be counting the days. And we are obviously going to just continue making Saw content the entire time. We're going to keep our ears to the ground. We're going to be basically reporting every little thing. I think that if Costas Mandalore farts, we will let you know. We're going to keep everybody in the know.
We're going to try and get on Lionsgate's radar. So,
yes, that's right. You know, we're hopefully getting contact with Lionsgate, and maybe even the producers. A couple of people involved in the film itself, leading up to
see how far we can take it.
See how far we can take it. You guys know that we are Saw diehards, as you guys are as well, and we're going to take this Saw journey that we're on as far as we can, you know? So it's an exciting year ahead. You know, I didn't think I'd be sitting down today recording this video. I'm going to tell you right now. If you had to describe what's going in your mind with this announcement, what would you say?
I could not tell you a single thing that's going on in my mind right now. There are so many gears and cogs turning. I'm thinking about, oh my God, we need to go watch this at the premiere. We need to fly to Los Angeles. We have to go see Costas Mandalore. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the fact that this could be the last Saw film where we see Mark Hoffman alive.
No.
It's possible. It's possible.
I don't think so.
If not, the second last one before he kicks the bucket, because it is possible that they will kill off Mark Hoffman in a future film. I hope not, but I'm trying to savor the time I have left with Mark Hoffman for sure. Very excited to see where it goes. Excited to see Cecilia die. There's a lot going on in my head right now. There is a lot.
I think the highlight of the day really was when we first saw this announcement. And, of course, it's hard to believe at first. You look at it and going, is this real? Is this, you know, how is this even a thing? And I think you just had to reboot for a moment.
Yeah. I was being served by like a cashier, and I was like,
yeah.
And she was like, oh, and trying to tell me how much it is. And I'm like,
yeah.
Hang on a minute, lady. I can't compute.
Like, what is this? Am I dreaming?
I'm going to need
now?
absolute silence.
Yeah, so I know you guys are as absolutely excited as we are, and we can't wait to just give more and more of the content as it comes out. We're so excited to hear about who is coming back, who is writing this thing, who's directing this thing, and all the leaks that come out over the next few months. So, as always, guys, keep an eye on this space, and it's wow.
The countdown's on, and we'll chat to you very soon about the next time Costas Mandalore farts.
That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.
Game over.